Hi. This, I think, will be quite a quick episode video. I saw someone talk about this topic on TikTok and I had like so many thoughts. I needed to just like, blah. I have a lot of vintage leather and I have a lot of leather, and I feel like I can really speak to the quality and longevity and sustainability of them. I guess the main topic of this entire video is greenwashing, vegan leather, pleather versus real leather, and what's more ethical, what's more sustainable. Okay, this is from Artificial Leather's Wikipedia page. Let's go. Is a material intended to substitute for leather in upholstery, clothing, footwear, and other uses, where a leather-like finish is desired, but the actual material is cost prohibitive or unsuitable due to practical or ethical concerns. Okay. The production of PVC used in the production of many artificial leathers requires a plasticizer to make it flexible and soft. PVC requires petroleum and large amounts of energy, thus making it reliant on fossil fuels. During the production process, dioxins are produced, which are toxic to humans and animals. Dioxins remain in the environment long after PVC is manufactured. When PVC ends up in landfill, it does not decompose like genuine leather and can release dangerous chemicals into the water and soil. Polyurethane is currently more popular for use than PVC. I would say I first heard the term vegan leather being used instead of pleather in like the 2010s, maybe late 2010s. I think when veganism was first having its like moment on the internet. Since then, I feel like a lot of brands will refer to what is polyester or polyurethane PVC as vegan leather. Such a clear example of greenwashing. So the actual definition of veganism is the practice of abstaining from the use of animal products. Foundations of veganism include ethical, moral, environmental, health, and humanitarian arguments. My interpretation of veganism would be like as little harm to the environment or to animals as physically possible. And I think that's where the term like vegan leather is so conflicting and so hypocritical. I'm actually going to read an excerpt from this article that I found, or essay that I found, that I think is really impressive and sums it up really nicely. So while it's easy to understand what vegan leather is not, it's not animal product. Understanding what it is can be tricky. Items that qualify as vegan or faux leather can be produced from materials as varied as cork, bark cloth, glazed cotton, wax cotton, paper, polyvinyl chloride, or PVC. There have been concerns over the last few years about PVC because of production challenges and because these released dioxins, potentially hazardous chemicals if burnt. Currently, the most popular alternative to PVC or faux leather is polyurethane. The production process involves painting polyurethane in liquid form onto a fabric backing. Making polyurethane into a liquid requires a solvent, and those can be highly toxic. Then this article asks, but is it better or worse than actual leather? Obviously, for the vegan whose ethical concerns favor animal life above all else, leather is out. But for those who don't put animal ethics at the top of the list, there are other factors at play. In other words, both of the processes require some kind of solvents. This is in the production of new leather, by the way. And then the piece asks, ultimately then, what can give leather an environmental edge is its sustainability. PVC and polyurethane aren't going to last nearly as long as leather. Leather actually looks and feels better with age, giving it the ability to be recycled and reused for a much longer period of time. So there's kind of conflicting views there. I think that either new real leather or pleather seem to be like fairly bad in different ways in terms of like the toxins that are released and also the labor rules, environmental impact, and I guess like ethical impact. I would say vintage real leather is much better than buying either new leather or pleather. I also have some examples because I know that like it doesn't really matter how often we say these things when it comes down to like price and cost of living and performance. If I'm being totally honest, I think people care more about those things than the environmental impact, specifically cost and whether it's like fashionable or enough. I'm going to show a few pieces that I have that are both vegan leather / pleather, and then pieces I have that are vintage leather, and we can cross compare. Okay, this is the example segment. I don't go a day without wearing some kind of leather-esque thing. I think I'm qualified to speak on at least the durability. Everything that you'll see here is secondhand, so it's not like I was buying fast fashion when I do buy these pieces, apart from one. First up is trousers. So these trousers, the lining is polyester and then everything else is real leather. These are probably my most worn. They like basically fluctuate with me when my weight fluctuates. They like fit me at every size. Gorge leather trousers. Sorry, extend. Still in perfect condition, and these are probably like, I'll ask my mom to confirm, but well, definitely 30 years old, if not more. So that is the real leather pair. I have other real leather pairs that like I've just had to have the zip replaced on them, but like this, if someone, you know, picked this up, you wouldn't be able to tell whether it was vintage or not. Like they're in such good condition. I got these in Loot Vintage, and this is nothing against Loot. This is just the type of fabric that it is. They're like a fake leather. You can see they're much, much thinner, and they ripped. The fabric just straight up ripped. This is the inside of them, so there's no lining or anything. You can see it's just kind of on that polyester slash cottony back. This is 78% PVC, which as we know is no longer used. 21% cotton, I think that is. 1% PU. I only had these like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and like just a massive rip in the side. It's not something that you can really mend either. Obviously I could sew it up, but when you sew leather, the hole stays in place, if that makes sense. So yeah, not really sure what I'm gonna do with these. And they cost me €70 as well. I did have a voucher, but like, so that's PVC if you're wondering. As a reminder, these, apart from the lining, because the lining is synthetic, but this will biodegrade because it's natural leather. It will eventually biodegrade, whereas PVC or anything that's like backed onto polyester will take up to 200 years to decompose. PVC, as it's a toxin, I'm sure it releases like very harmful toxins as it's decomposing as well. This Harley Davidson vintage leather bra, literally my favorite thing. Probably my favorite thing in my wardrobe. I obviously don't wear it very often, but it is like divine. I love it so much. Ignore this. This was a self-inflicted. I took it in and cut out something, and when you're sewing with leather you need like a real industrial machine, which I didn't have, so I hand sewed that. That's why that's so bad. The actual structure of it has remained the same. It's obviously extremely durable and heavy duty. The lining is some kind of polyester or some kind of artificial something or other. I'm not sure because I think I took out the tag that time. But yeah, the leather itself, like there's no scuff marks. You would swear it's like brand new. There's no like damage to the leather itself really in comparison to this top. So this has stayed in pretty good nick. I got this for my graduation. It's from this brand Cult Naked, and this was labeled as vegan leather, which is a classic greenwashing tactic. This is, I'm pretty sure, 100% polyester. I will check the tag online. This was folded up kind of in my drawer and things like that, but you can probably or hopefully see it is quite soft and it's a lovely top on, but it's completely lost its shape. It used to be like quite a bound, like corseted top. It's still really nice on, but like it doesn't sit the same. It's not as like structured. And I'm expecting that like in 10 years time, although I don't want this to be true, I do think it'll start kind of peeling off and being weird and not really lasting. So I'm just trying to enjoy it while I can. This was quite expensive, and I'm not sure if I would ever pay that much for something that isn't real leather in future. The last example of clothing I wanted to show is this dress, and I think this is such a good, clear example of what vegan leather looks like when it decomposes. And I think it's a big one to bear in mind, because this is, I think, probably like over 10 years old, maybe, give or take, maybe like 12 years old, but it still has the tags on. And I want to show what vegan leather looks like when it starts to break down and starts to get old. This dress has been worn twice purely to try on. As I said, this has never been worn outside the house because of the condition it's in, but it still has the tags on. And I think that's quite a clear illustration, and just wait for it, because I can't even hold this up without it completely destroying everything I own. This is from American Apparel. It literally looks like there's pieces of black bin bag on my couch right now. And I remember at the time when they came out with this range, I wasn't veggie yet. Maybe I was. Vegan leather figure skating dress. You can see it there, tag's still on, and it is completely falling to pieces. This is nothing against American Apparel. They're one of my favorite nostalgic brands. 60% polyurethane and 40% polyester. And this is what that looks like after less than 10 years. Again, the tags are still on it. This is just how it breaks down. I think this was seen as like quite innovative at the time and like a way for brands to kind of tap into veganism or like getting away from like animal products. And obviously leather was demonized at the time, as it kind of should be, because it's an animal byproduct. Between this vintage leather or vintage real leather, it's quite clear which one is more durable. This, I'm sure, was like made in like the 90s. I'm not really certain, but yeah. Those trousers were probably made in like the 80s, late 80s. These were made in the 2010s, and this is the effect of it. I will obviously have to repurpose this in some way, because if I give this to a charity shop, they're not going to be able to sell it. I can't sell it, obviously, on Vinted. And yeah, it just makes me really upset, and I think it would go straight into landfill if I don't do something with it. I was thinking of painting this bit or resewing on like top of it some nice cotton material or something. There's all these little bits of black leather all over my couch and floor now. Super quickly then, I wanted to show these two boots. These ones on Depop, but you can see like they are pleather. They're some kind of vinyl-y type material. See if it gives a description. It's made with polyurethane, and you can see like there's bits that are coming off all here and here. It's a lot more visible actually in person. This is pretty evident like here. I don't know if you can see that. I will still continue to wear them because I really like those boots, but that's just a clear example of what leather looks like. And again, those are only that I did buy them secondhand, but I bought them on Depop, and I think they're only probably like 5 or 6 years old, really. One of my favorite pairs of boots I got in Enable Ireland on Georgia Street. They are, well, I'm actually not certain that like that's ripped. This little tunnel is completely ripped. The outside doesn't look that bad, apart from this rip, which is just like inconvenient. You can see there's little kind of scuffs at the front, there and there. The inside is what's really bad. And anytime that I take my leg out of them, I'm like left with loads of bin bag-esque material all along my legs. You can see it's pretty much gone off. So then this bag, I got it on Depop, and it said that it's leather except for the trimmings. So you can see the body of the bag is like in really good condition, except for all of the trimmings have lost their color, and then the straps are like completely gone. This all has peeled off. Insert the photo of what it was like before I started wearing it, and then after. You can see that that's all pretty much just peeled off, and now it's just left with like the fabric portion. I obviously still wear it like it's my favorite bag right now. I think that's just an interesting example because it's a combination of both, and it's quite a clear difference. This is what happens to the stuff that isn't real leather, and then this is what happens to the bit that is real leather. There are like innovations being made, but it doesn't seem to be happening quick enough. For that reason, I think when in doubt, just buy secondhand. I think that's actually that's the actual real conclusion. All of the vegan leather pieces that I've shown, and also the leather pieces, I will continue to wear. Obviously, I bought them because I loved the look of them, and I will continue to wear them until they're completely unusable. The takeaways from this video are: 1, don't trust greenwashing. It's vegan leather in high street stores. It probably isn't sustainable. Same with real leather. It's kind of a ethical gray area, but I think bottom line is you can't go wrong with secondhand of either of those two options, and secondhand or vintage leather will last you 40-50 years, and it's a much better investment, and probably I would say the price range is pretty much the same. I hope you enjoyed my Wikipedia reading and my little embarrassing haul of broken down pieces. I would be interested to know if any of you have had similar experiences with pleather. I will see you very soon, and have a lovely rest of your week. Bye!